and I run an agility solutioning boutique which is called Agile Virgin. And today we all have gathered here to focus on testing and quality excellence with an conference which is called Game of Testing, #GoT. So why we started with Game of Testing? To talk about it, let's just step a few minutes, few years back. And we talk about what is Agile Virgin. Agile Virgin is mother of everything that is here today and various other things that we are doing, and I'll tell you what we are doing. So somewhere in 2013, when I was introduced to Agile in my organization, I wanted to learn more. Someone suggested, why don't you go to meetups? And that's when I found out meetups. 13, I started going to meetups, and then someone said, oh, there are conferences in India that happen, in the domain of Agile, DevOps, design thinking, system thinking, and I said, fine, I'll go. And I went there, and I was really happy initially, but then later I felt, there is much more that can be done and is missing. And I started volunteering and providing my ideas. And I do feel humbled to all the conferences which welcomed me, gave me space. And but there's always a limitation, the system limitation, system constraints, and then the mindset constraint and the culture constraint. So looking at all that, I decided I'll start something of my own. So we started a meetup with the name Agile Virgin. Now the question is, why Agile Virgin? And you Google Agile Virgin and funny things come up. And so, my bad, but it was a happy conversation. Folks sitting in bar talking about, we are all Agile. By default, we are Agile. Look at us. We always inspect and adapt, right? So, we are born Agile. We are virgins of Agile. And so that's how Agile Virgin was born. And then a lot of time people told me change the name. But unfortunately, I didn't have time to change, and that just became a brand. So, I started with meetups. Then I said I want to run a conference. But I somehow didn't like the whole point of conference, because in conference you all sit there and I speak here. And how do you, from there move here? Becomes a question. And then I happened to visit XP conference. That year it was in Cologne. And I was blown away looking at the humongous open space they had. So we started 7 in the morning. By lunchtime we were all having white wine. And then we ended till 12 in the night, and it was the venue was mind-blowing. Like you're standing on a dome and you're watching all those ancient architecture, and you're all openly talking about what you feel, what you want to do, what is there and what is not there, and how you can collaborate and co-create something. Yeah. And I'm a community-driven person. I am a student who want that we should do a group study. I just can't just sit down and look at the books and videos on my own. I really need to bounce off my ideas, talk to people, and like co-create something. That's who I am, right? And so I'm like, okay, there has to be an unconference. So I further researched open space, unconference, and all of that. I said there has to be an conferencing. There has to be an unwinding. There has to be an unlearning of what we already do. And so for that, and I said, okay, fine, let's create something of that sort in India. I come back in 2017, I announced Agility Today. So the problem was with India, we need assurance. We are in a certain way very conservative, we want safety, yeah? And not to blame us, that's our mindset and culture. Over generations, we have learned that, just like in US, after Depression era, the economy and the mindset was different. It started booming after World War II, and why resources were more, opportunities were more, people were less. To us, we have a lot of opportunity and resources, yet our people are more, right? Anyways, so what we had to do, we had to create something which had assurance and which also had open space. And that's how we created Unconference, and we needed elements which will help us unwind. So, moving ahead from that pretty photo of mine and self-obsession. So since 2015, we have probably run, and annually we do like more than 150 meetups. Annually we have conferences, boot camps, job fair, career forums, hackathons, agile-a-thon, DevOps, engineering labs. I probably haven't written much here. So 16 of them we run. So like we are running something right now. and in another one there is something else which is focused on gamification. After that, something focused on system and design thinking. So yeah, so that's what we do. That's where I started learning. Intention was I want to learn. Intention was I want to move from that side of stage to this side of stage. Intention, I had so much and I wanted to offer. And I'm 100% sure that is the case with everyone else as well, right? Okay, so that's what we do. Annually we create all of this. You can read more about that on our website. Then while doing this, something special came up. I met a lot of women, right? And they had questions like, what's up bro, how do you do all of this and how can we start doing, and these are our challenges and we can't talk about them openly. There was also a lot of interaction with LGBTQ community. And so that's when we said, fine, let's create women in Agile and Tech. Initially my focus was on Agile and technology. Now under Women in Agile and Tech, we do a lot of work on physical health, emotional health, mental health, psychological growth and safety, self-development. So it's not anymore just Women in Agile and Tech. We don't change the name, but that's the gist. So these are our officers. Right now with us we have Rakhi, Sonia, Jyoti and I am. And one thing which is missing is not being able to talk about our warriors from Team Agile Virgin. My apologies on that. We should have had photos for that. We'll have it next time. So let's now go to the main agenda, which is what? Game of testing. So while working as a consultant, I consult in the space of agility, technical, team, process, design, organizational agility. I do interact a lot with testers. I work very closely with testers. And what was always not so pleasing about industry was the opinion and the voice was not very seriously taken. When it comes about testing and quality assurance. It was always limited to either the quality assurance policy or they don't know the product, they don't know the feature, this is not a bug, that kind of thing. Whatever warnings were issued earlier, not taken seriously. And so Sonia, our warrior from Women in Agile and Tech, she said, you do so much, but you have no attention to what is leading the stage, and which is testing and quality assurance. What can we do? So I said, you are the expert, you tell me. And that's when we all started working on game of testing. And we're so grateful. We met amazing leaders, Paula sitting there, Ravit sir, Brijesh sir, I mean, all of you are sir, Ashok, Jyosli, Hero, Santosh, Anand. So, we all are here. And today we are focusing on testing and quality excellence with this unconference. So you will see, you will not just be sitting there and listening, you will see you are connecting with everyone, you are meeting leaders, you are talking to them. So what's going to happen, you know all of this, I'll just show you this image. What's going to happen is, in the open space, we'll co-create the program. When we further go on, we will be meeting leaders and we'll be having a one-on-one consulting with them. Yeah, you'll meet them, there's a lot of space. This hall will be divided into two pods. This is called track 1. So when you look at the program, the first talk, that's track 1 and it will happen here. The second one, it will happen there. And then there's another third room which is called Eureka. You just walk here and you see the Eureka. That's third track, right? 3 tracks will happen. But then all of this will cease after almost lunch, probably just one more session after lunch. So around 2:30, 3-ish is when we'll start open space, we'll start visual thinking, we'll all create something together. Rakhi will be guiding us on that. We'll all be consulting one-on-one in the Eureka, we'll take up the one-on-one consulting, here we can take up one-on-one consulting. You all will be proposing what you want to talk about and speak. So that is what is going to happen. And now there must be questions and there must be suggestions and everything. So you will see our servant leaders. Guys, what is the color, and can you all just shake your hand and so that people can see you all. Every servant leader here. Perfect. So these are the people, you can ask questions to them and we are all there to assist you. So, before we all move on to anything else, and you all have seen program on the website, I want to bring your attention to something very important, is our sponsors. So in this event, we have invested 12 lakh, and so far, thanks to Brijesh, thanks to Rolf, thanks to Niranjan, and thanks to Provar, Tristan, his community builder there, we have been able to gather 1,90,000. So rest of the almost 10,000 plus goes from Agile Virgin and Women in Agile in Tech to all of you. The tickets that we have sold are somewhere around 100 plus, out of which 90% are free tickets. Intention is we want community to genuinely grow, connect. When you are connected, you become so powerful. You start impacting first your culture, mindset, community, and then your organizations. So if you join us in other programs, you will see how we are impacting organizations right now in this phase of agile transformation. Right? But we'll do the same thing with testing and quality assurance community as well. Okay. So thanks so much, Brijesh. Thanks, Rolf. Niranjan is not here, and Kristen is not here. Thanks to them, not just we could gather 1,90,000, but we could also connect with the wider community. We could also connect with the speakers who are there, leaders who are there. And then, of course, a huge thanks to our supporters, our partners who helped us take our voices all around the globe. Alright guys, so that's it. With this, what I will do, I will start something which is very exciting, which is called Open House. So you all must have heard of open space, right? But you probably don't know what is Open House. Open House is a combination of open space and panel. Now what happens in the panel, we simply glorify the experts. Definitely it's awesome in terms of like feeling wow about what they are doing and what their thoughts are, and they get to stand on this podium. How do you go there? How do you meet them in person? So if let's say I have Brijesh and Ramit and Narayan and Ashok and Raf coming here, so may I please ask you 5 gentlemen come here? And please don't fight with me why women are not there. I'm there for you. And then we'll also have women next time. So please come. We don't give them seats, And we take no offense. Please, my request is that. So, can I also have a hand mic here, guys? Come on. Never mind. Any which ways you have to speak, I would have to speak. Also turn off the projector. Yeah. Thank you so much, Rafi. Let's start. Sir, please. Yeah. So I will get down from the stage. What's happening here? It's an open house. In the open house, we start with the panel, but we don't give them chair, and they don't take reference because that's the sign of leadership. And so the first person from here is Mr. Narayan Raman. He is CEO of Typo Software, and now it is Sahipro. And he's a technologist, he's an evangelist, he's a leader in this space, not just in testing and quality assurance. We chose to stick to that. But he does work with organizations on digital transformation. Next to him is Rohit Manohar Paul. We all know Rohit sir. He always says, don't call me sir, and that's when we all push this sir on him. In addition to testing and quality excellence, in addition to supporting communities massively in India, he is also a person who would like to help us unwinding with his sense of humor. So we'll be enlightened with that. We don't have keynotes in our conferences, but tomorrow we'll opening something exciting with him. You all see tomorrow. You will not see, you will laugh tomorrow. Then we have Brijesh Dev. Everyone calls him Brijesh Da, Brijesh Bhai. And Brijesh is globally supporting community in the testing and of course influencing other spaces, digital transformation, lean, agile, DevOps. Then we move to Rolf. Rolf is very much like me in terms of supporting community, in terms of openware, publicwares and all of that. I'm missing out the term.
Open source?
Open source, yes, exactly. It just happens, when you start early morning and you haven't slept all night and you didn't let them sleep, So, he is avid learner and he has constantly been helping community with open source and very generously also helped Game of Testing. There was no need for sponsorship, but when it came from him and I said, oh my God, thank you so much. And then, nonetheless, T. Ashok sir, as everyone calls him in the industry, for all the, do not think he called him sir because of his gray hair. It is the experience, it is the contribution, it is the job opportunities, it is the sponsorship that he offers to community and industry across. So that's it. That's about flattering you guys. Coming back to the main question. So what happens in the open house? Open house, we offer one big question to our panelists, our experts. That's been the word panelists, right? We all will see, we all become panelists in some time. Have you all heard of park bench? Cool, not a problem. It'll be also sort of, never mind, let's leave the park bench. So what is our big question today? Let's hear their opinion on the big question. Sir, my request to you all will also be, please feel free to introduce, because I definitely must have given my flavor. There must be something that I must be missing on. Turn off the projector, please. Turn it off. So what is the big question? Now, big question is, a lot is happening in the industry, in the technology space, and which is massively impacting us all testers and the quality warriors, right? So, if I have to ask, how do you see future of testing and quality assurance, career of testing and quality warriors, in the times when it is not, the code automation, having platforms which automatically generate codes, let alone the test cases. What do you see in our future? Also, in the space when we have AI and ML impacting the whole algorithm, the whole space of automation for testing. What is our career? When do you see our career becomes obsolete? Or does it become obsolete? Or how does it add value? That is our big questions. And we start with you, Ashok. So we pass on the mic to you first. Whatever introduction you want to offer to community, because I'm sure there must be people who might not be aware. Let's assume that. It's good to know from you. And then we would want an answer from you. What do you think about this question?
It's an interesting question. I think it's always a question that we've been asking ourselves for, in conference for 20 years. And I think we continue to ask that.
Closer, sir.
Yeah,
Just have it closer, yeah.
I think we've been asking this question, I guess, at least the last 10 years. We're still not around. That's one thing to know, okay?
Yeah.
But things change, and I think things have to change. Things have to improve. Technology changes. I think that's natural. There's nothing to be scared about. I think if you look at the entire 100 years, I think what we've done with technology is first we've learned to transport ourselves using machines. Industrialization in the typical sense, physical stuff. Certainly not as long as 100 years, but certainly in the last maybe couple of decades, we have transported ourselves fundamentals. So that's where intelligence and AI has been around 40 years, 50 years. But I think the big stuff happened with ML recently with you. Now, given the little bit of a context, I think always the scare is, look, I am smarter, would I be replaced with something more smarter than me? And what are the opportunities that it has? Now, one thing that must be interesting as far as testing is concerned is it's a discipline which is not straightjacketed. We don't have a specific box to fit in, because we're finding issues that are in the open, and how it causes, how is it caused, what causes it is not something that's straightforward and open. So given that fact, that what we're doing is constantly searching for something in the unknown which may not be present. Where does tech come in, where do we come? And how do stuff in tech, especially with ML, how do they help us? The fact of the matter is, as long as we don't think of us as straitjacketed, but we think of it as a much more open, expansive, general system, think about it from a broader perspective, then you survive. Then, not just survive, you add value, more than survive. And that's where I think the difference is, that testing is not about learning from our discipline of technology, but it's really learning from other disciplines. And when I say other disciplines, keeping an open mind on where things happen, issues especially, stuff especially. In other disciplines, it could be disciplines of medicine, it could be medicines of art, it could be anything else. And that is where I think, as a machine, there's a limitation. Right? Which means the ability for us to be far more creative, far more absorptive, far more applying the skill from other disciplines as well. If you look at the way we have tried to adopt ML and AI, especially with this to some degree, has been on certain tools which does some meaningful recognition, maybe in the space of automation, which is great. It is helping us find certain issues. But think about it, that's the low level. As systems become more and more complex with technology, with the ability, the way we deploy, with uses that are quite different, with things that we are pulling in from other things because we're not building everything, we're either using other people's code, open or otherwise. So the enormous amount of interconnections and complexity is far more. Are we using intelligence from the system to be able to understand those and therefore help us to suggest that these might be opportunities for problems? That would be for me a little more intelligent AI, where I think we can have that. So I guess we will do the simpler stuff first, and we will do the interesting stuff later. So we will move away from just the doer to be meaningfully assisted from an intelligent sense as we go forward. We have focused a lot more on the doing. We have to kind of move away from that to doing. One part of it is automation for sure. That will always be there. But I think, how can I think better? How can I figure out something interesting? How can I find those one or two or few bugs which actually are far more interesting, rather than finding those 1,000 which are not as interesting. Right? So that to me is where tools might.
Thank you so much. Okay, now in the interest of time, I will request everyone take 5 minutes, not beyond that. And again, the focus is how can someone also take ahead their career. So adding on to what he said and building on the conversation he initiated, I have the question: how do you see folks can help their career? Should they take up courses in AI and ML, data science? What sort of courses do you suggest? And the question is again collectively, you can pass on the mic and that can come back. So what should they be doing? Because then what happens, people blindly take up a data science certificate. And then they take up a machine learning or data consolidation and business analysis kind of certificate. A lot of them are scared of moving to a Scrum Master kind of stream. So let's focus on career. What do you think there?
Good morning for the ones that don't know me yet. My name is Rob. Thank you, Deepti, for having us here. And great introduction about AI and testing. And did I understand you right that you think we should use AI and automation just to help us to find more interesting bugs? Is that what we assume?
That's right. So elevate from the act of doing to helping me do better things. Think better,
yeah. So I have a little thing to show you. As we were flying in, I checked the garment of my wife, and it's not a cheap garment. It's how much was it? 150 euro. It was not cheap, okay? And it was not tested with AI. It was not tested with, I guess, it was not tested at all. Maybe with rain. But do you know those little stickers that you have in the garment? I'll just hand this over to you. And it was made in India. It could have been made in Indonesia. And find a bug.
Yeah, I can see that.
So it has the explanation in 5 languages or 6. And the German explanation, which is 2 words, and there are 2 bugs in there.
Oh!
So what do you think? If you buy a garment, you're proud of that garment. Well, now I dress up and I have this really, I paid for it, I selected it carefully, and then you start washing it and find the explanation. So what kind of feeling do you get? And this is where I add up. We should think not how we automate the testing, we use machines to test that garment, protect us against rain and everything. We could use AI to understand if people love it more in red or in gray. Yeah, we could test the color or the sales process. But I think we should really focus on the small details, which are connected with every product, everything we do, and focus on that. That just adds up to the previous introduction.
So I believe you both are saying focus on human in the loop, right? And definitely not my job right now, but I'm tempted to say again. So for me, the takeaway right now which is coming is focus on excellence of the system. Is this correct to say so? So then Brajesh, question becomes, and then so again adding on to what they said, and again in my own way interpreting, for all of us here, that we focus on excellence of product, focus on excellence of system, focus on excellence of process. That is what they both sort of conveyed, right? There is a lot which we can contribute to. Is this what you are trying to say? Yes.
Well, it's focusing on the details. If we focus on the process, the automation might click the right buttons.
Yeah.
The feature works.
Not focus on process. Excellence. Yeah.
It's the detail.
Detailing.
What do we see? What do we experience? What's the user experience like? It's far more in testing than just trying out a garment that sustains against the rain.
Right.
There's far more.
Yeah. So we have to think beyond the mindset of just being a role, just being a responsibility holder, and how as a system, as a product, as a service provider, we can improve the experience. So far, that is the takeaway, right? Okay, so then I go down to you, Brajesh, and we still haven't spoken a lot about career, to be very honest, and good we have 3 more leaders to talk about that. So Brajesh, then I go to you, and then now I ask you, what should people do? Should they take up certain courses as well in the IIML? Before machine beats you, we start ruling the machine. What do you suggest?
First of all, thank you, Deepti, for inviting me here. It is really a pleasure. This is my first in-person conference in India after 3 years. So it feels good to see people face to face rather than from behind the screen. And thank you, Deepti, for introducing me in a way which I'll just summarize in 2 words. You can call me a universal brother, because everyone does that. They call me Bhaiya or Dada or whatever. So yeah, sympathies. Thank you so much. Thank you. I know my other brother is sitting there, right across. Yeah, you can see him. And so thank you, Deepti, for that. Ram said, he's the laughter king, but I'm getting some training from him also. But anyways, coming back to the question that Deepti asked. First of all, Ashok said, that's what Ashok said is he gives us wisdom and direction, and then we all go ahead. So talking about career and courses and stuff like that, and good that you started and mentioned AI. It is only a coincidence that I am going to start an AI course from today.
Oh my God.
Okay, from today, from this evening, I am doing. So the thing is, why should somebody know more about AI? And Ashok sir is right. It's been there for a long time, but now it's moving on and things are changing, and that's why we must get familiar with whatever is going on. So the machine learning aspect has strengthened it. And when we move from one role to another in testing, 23 years ago when I started my career, the same questions were being asked. They are asked now, they will be asked 20 years later as well. Is testing going to be obsolete? Now, it is never going to be obsolete, because as long as you are building products, you need to test them. I'm sure none of you will sit on a plane which says, okay, this is the first flight of this aircraft that has never flown before. I'm sure none of you will do that. If you are really strong enough and say, okay, we deal with it, probably you will. Or if the pilot says, this is my first flight, I've never flown before. So anyways, so coming back to your question, the courses do help, but you have to take steps logically. So as testers, first step is to build your craftsmanship as a tester? Can you test better? Is the first question you should ask. There is a lot of myth in the industry saying, oh, anybody can test. It's just about clicking buttons. No, it's not so. You may say anybody can test, but anybody cannot test as good as the testers can.
Yeah.
It is a specialist job, so take pride in being a tester. First of all, strengthen that first. Then you look ahead, okay, what more can I add? How can I become more efficient in whatever I am doing? And that's where automation comes in. Forget about test automation or automated testing. See automation as a whole. WHOL, not HOL. WHOL. Okay, in its entirety. And yesterday I was talking at an event. You know, when you put some numbers on an Excel sheet in the cells and you, in the end, you write equals sum of within brackets, you do the cells. That also is automation. Right? How many of us think of automation that way? Not many of us. The moment we start talking about automation, it is suddenly about Selenium and Java, and then a lot of people start sweating, oh, I have never written a line of code, what am I going to do? Will I survive? Will I die? No, you will not. All of you have used automation. All of you. So this is not something to be scared of. Now, okay, now with automation, you will make yourself more efficient. Then after that, you go, okay, how can I get better? Okay, the world is getting, smarter. We talk about smartphones, smart TVs, smart homes, smart cities, smart country, smart world, whatever. Okay, that smartness comes from AI. It is becoming a reality. It is a reality we are living there. And that's where you need to know. So even though I am in a leadership role, I still thought, okay, AI is of relevance for me, I need to know what it is. That's why I said, okay, this will add value to my career as a tester. I'm not leaving the testing thing anywhere. It's going to be always there with me. But since I'm in a leadership role, so I enrolled in a course called AI for Leadership. Okay, so there are various aspects that you need to know at every stage. AI for test from a tester's perspective, from a developer's perspective. Likewise, whether it is data science or anything to do with specialization in tools or anything like that, certifications do help. Okay, not essentially because you you get a certificate. I mean, that paper itself will not help you, but actually what you learn and how you implement is the main thing. Okay, so that is very important. Now, to be very honest, I am an anti-certifications guy. Okay, so if you tell me, I am going for an ISTQB course, I will say no, don't do that. Being very honest. Okay, because I know there are people in the room who will beat me up for this, for saying this. But the fact, the person standing right next to me will be the first one. How did you say that? See, but the thing is, the reason why I say that is because people do a certification, people do ISTQB, they do it, they have a certification, they show it around. But how many of you certified testers have actually implemented what you have learned during that certification course? Not many. Okay, not many. I can tell you the number is minimal.
Rajesh, in the interest of time, we have
Yeah.
to go to the next person. Yeah.
This is what happens when the mic comes to you.
Yeah, exactly. Move on, bro.
Okay.
Father Doctor.
Okay, so moving on. Ramit sir. Beat me up.
Hello.
Ramit sir, quick question to you is, what is the value of certificates used?
This is not yet.
Actually, yeah, this is not the question to be very honest. Yeah.
I'm okay with it. उसका मुझे आता ही नहीं. See, have you got the answer that where you should start your AI journey? Yet? No. Be honest about it. Go to istqb.org, certifications, you will get your starting point. Now see, people, so it's not about certifications or not, it's about knowledge, and I say it openly. I am an ISTQB trainer. How many of you know it? if you give an exam in ISTQB, I am the one who's preparing your questions.
Will you be checking as well?
No. So there's a proper process that is followed, but anyways, it's not
Just like,
ISTQB.
yeah.
Now, whether you do a certification or not, that's secondary. Do you get the knowledge? That's primary. Now, a lot of people talk about AI, but AI is all gyan is the way guru, a lot of gurus and people speak up. We get the gyan, but end of the day, nothing goes here. Now, the AI that we have seen right now, till date, is all about using a spam filter, probably identifying a cat and a dog. So this is called narrow AI in the space of AI. AI today, what it is, finally will try to replace humans in the most intelligent avatar of it. Okay, are we heading there? Yes. Are we as humans, are we still very successful with this? Not yet. As of today, at this stage. Is it going to happen tomorrow? Yes, definitely. Is testing changing because of that? 110% the way you think about testing is going to change. I'll give you an example probably, that will help you understand. Till now, testing is all about you write or think of a test case. I know Rajesh is here, so writing test cases is a big no-no. You think of a test. You see a test will go pass or fail. Agree? No more in AI. Sorry guys, things have changed. AI is not about simply pass or fail of a test. Now when you are testing AI, for example, you use Google Maps. Google Maps tell you that from Bilandur to Silk Board, you will require 30 minutes. If you took 29 minutes or 31 minutes, is your test pass or fail? In conventional world, fail, not in AI. AI is more about how accurate your model is. And that phenomena has changed in testing. So today, if you want to be successful in testing AI, then you need to think about new techniques like metamorphic testing or A/B testing, and so on and so forth. Get ready. Our world is going to rock as testers. If not today, another 5 years. And if you are not technically superior in the next 5 years, you are going to perish. Nobody is saying this. Everybody says testing was there, is there, will remain there. Forget it. If you don't upgrade yourself, this is a warning you will remember from it. I am a very non-serious guy, but I am being very serious right now. If you don't change yourself, thank you, bye-bye, tata. Okay? So, get ready. Courses, certifications, it is up to you. Find your own way of learning. Nobody can tell you. Buddha didn't have a teacher, he is an incarnation of Vishnu. So understand that you need to find your own path. ISTQB, AI certificate will give you that starting edge. Okay? And with that, I end.
Thank you. So Narayana, very fast coming to you at a crisp question, and which is, so they all said that understand product, understand customer, focus on excellence, detailing, system view, all of that is there. Then why should someone remain a tester? Then they can actually become something else.
I have no idea. Okay. I'm going to start with something else.
Yeah.
The thing is, I'm a chemical engineer by education. Okay. I did software I started as a programmer, and I still program here 22 years of data. Okay. Now the thing is, I wrote an open source tool called Sari in 2005, which was fairly popular. Then commercialized this, and then I've been running a company for the past 12-15 years. Okay. Around that, we build automation tools around web, mobile, desktop, etc. Now, why am I telling you this? AI has been, so most of you look at AI and other things when you are thinking about it as, okay, I have testing and I need to automate it in some way. Okay, how can AI help me in that? Or there is another flip to it where you say, hey, my product uses AI. Okay, how do I test that AI-based product? These are two different problems. Okay, and if you are in the first one where you are saying, okay, I have a normal application. Okay, and I need to test it now. the majority of testing is actually functional testing, right? So you basically check whether things are working or not. Okay, that's the basic thing that you do first. And over that you do other things like security, accessibility, user interface, UX, etc. Now, if you agree that the majority of testing is actually functional testing, okay? Now, in that area, so that is the area we function in, that is where I have my knowledge, okay? Now, can AI help you in that? Now, if you have ever done an AI course or like looked at the basic, if you go to Google, there is an AI introduction thing, okay? So there like you actually try to do multiplication of two numbers, like 3 into 3. You run the AI algorithm and you get like 8.93, 9.01. And they say you have to run it enough number of times with enough sets of data for it to give you the right answer. Do you want that? No. This is a definitive problem. There is a definitive result to like what you are doing, okay? In those cases, you don't need AI. You need algorithms, okay? You don't need AI in those cases. You need AI when like, you talk about problems like that he was talking about. Is it 29 or a 31? Is it a valid result or not? But that is not in comparison with 30. It is in comparison with the data set that you have trained the model on. Okay? So keep that on, that problem itself separate. Keep it as, okay, if I want to test an AI product, how do I go about it? Then you go into a lot of like, the whole data setup thing. A lot of like AI ML is about having your data sets correct. Okay? And building like loads of data which can be automatically generated or like you could source it from somewhere, etc. Making sure that there is no bias in it, etc. That's a different problem. Okay? Now, if you are looking at the functional test automation or this side, right? So let's look at the functional test automation, how people are talking about AI and ML. Okay? A lot of the things that people talk about as low-code solutions, that's what you should be afraid of, by the way. If you're an automation tester, low-code solutions are something that you should embrace, you should like work towards it, but that is the future that I see. So you will actually like stop writing code for test automation. It's something that I definitely see. Okay? And why is that? It is not because of AI and ML. It is because if you look at a user interface, like let's say a web application or a mobile application, the problem is kind of defined, okay, in the sense that you have this kind of interface, these kind of like interactions, and these kind of results that you expect out of it. So the productization of that has been happening for a while. So the productization of a web automation application, like web application testing, right? It is there. So it's like saying, okay, I have an Excel sheet. Now I put in formula and I'll be able to get whatever I want. You don't write like full programs, full calculations, full, to do what an Excel can do. Similarly, you would have low-code test automation tools, you have low-code test automation tools, which will stop you from writing a lot of the, okay, how do I data grab it, how do I read it from a database, how do I actually, handle object identification, etc. These all are going to go away, and these don't need really AI to solve it. So this is one thing where I see a lot of tools saying we use AI, okay, where they say, okay, I do image recognition and then matching. Okay, and then the other thing is this particular identifier, I have an easier way of identifying, and it actually like when it changes, I'll adapt to it. These are like very low level things. Like these are not things that are gonna these are not like life changing things. Okay, but the point is like, this is where a lot of AI ML is happening right now. But what and I don't think those are just like helping tools. Okay, and by the way, if any tool talks about an AI ML based object identification on a browser. When you actually write something for the browser, you write it in HTML and JavaScript or something like that. Okay, that already is code and it has a contract in which you can write. It is not a free-form thing that you can write there. If something is written to a contract, it can be tested by an algorithm. You don't need an AI for that because there is no guesswork in it. You actually know exactly what is going to happen if these parameters change. So you write code that actually understands those different parameters and does something. So this doesn't need AI. So as a test automation tool creator, right? We have dealt with problems of, okay, how do I identify objects? So a lot of people know Selenium, and I'm sure like not too many people know Sahi actually. But if you actually check Sahi, right, you know that you don't use XPath, CSS selectors, you don't use any of those things that are brittle and like people have been like struggling with for a long time. And these are done without AI. It's just like regular program, and it is possible to do that. It is also possible to auto-heal using these things. So the point is, when a lot of people when they talk about AI, they sell you the snake oil saying that, hey, you know what, like you can object, like you can identify this object automatically, this and that, okay? But the point is, as a tester, right, for functional testing, you need to know exactly whether it is working or not. It is not the problem of testing an AI tool. Your problem is very definitive. You have to know whether it is correct or not. And let's say that you wanted to actually click on something and it clicked on something else. Identifying whether it did the right thing or the wrong thing is also a big pain. So you need to be on top of these things. The thing is, AI can help you in analyzing the logs and presenting things to you better. But there also AI comes in with, okay. Even AI, right now when we talk about AI, we talk about ML most of the time. Okay, it's machine learning that we are talking most of the time, and the traditional realm of AI, that was image identification, or optical character recognition, etc. Those are almost solved problems. There, you have models, you have just the libraries. You can just pick those libraries, use the already created models, and then use them there. So those problems are no longer considered AI anymore. They are productized tools where already the models have been built. And if that is the case, right, it is not the AI itself, or you don't need to learn the AI to actually do that automation. But you need to actually look at higher levels of understanding, and attacking the automation problem. So where people could actually spend their lives actually doing just clicking this, clicking that, writing automation scripts for that, it won't work now, because the real person who's going to be valuable is the person who says, okay, how does my application behave when this person has changed from an admin to a manager? What are the different paths it needs to take? This is regular testing that people always used to do. And it comes back to that value add that people, good manual testers, if you can, if you want to say manual tester, but people who think of how the system changes when the input changes, right? So those are the people who will become valuable again, and these people will also be able to use tools which can easily automate. The automation engineers, the glorification of them, I think that era is it's on a whole. So that is my take.
Awesome, that's brilliant. So what are we going to do? Of course we're going to plan, and then let's take leaders where their right place is, where they belong actually, which is among people. So guys, please get down and go wherever you want to, and you all gather up with them. Please, sir. Please, let's go to the first. No. You all go to the first table. Your job is not done yet. Your job is never going to get done. Please join one of the tables. Yeah, that's it. You join one of the tables. Come. And then guys, whatever questions you have, now you have with them, probably the second one. Yeah. And you all can also please go and join there. Yeah. And so, you all also stand up. Don't keep sitting. Come, join them. You just have 15 minutes any which way. So please come and join them. So please join them, come. And then now becomes the closer conversation. So now you all have exactly 10 minutes for whatever question you have. And then from each leader, I am going to ask in 1 minute, what was the pulse check you had from this table? So Ramit sir has his table. Bridget, you just have 2 girls. Don't call them Bhaiya. Finish and give each other method. Come. That's fine. So we have very less time. So join the table as a leader you want to. Come. And have whatever conversation. Go, join. It's okay, absolutely. Go, join. Yeah.